It always starts the same. You meet her, and something about her feels inevitable, like the universe placed her there for you. Every glance feels like a secret, every word like a promise. You tell yourself, this is real. But Carl Jung would warn you. The version of her you're falling for may not exist. At least, not in the way you think. Jung called it the persona, the mask we wear to show the world who we want them to believe we are. It's polished, deliberate, curated. And in romance, that mask becomes even more alluring because both people are presenting their best selves, or more accurately, their most strategic selves. She shows you warmth, laughter, and a sense of connection. You show her confidence, attentiveness, and charm. But neither of you is showing the whole truth, not the flaws, not the insecurities, not the darker instincts that lurk beneath. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Carl Jung. The problem is this. In the first rush of attraction, you're not falling for her. You're falling for the character she's playing, and she's falling for yours. This is why the first stage of love feels so effortless. You're relating to masks, not to the messy complexity of two real human beings. And the danger? You can stay blind to the shadow beneath that mask, the hidden motives, fears, and needs, until it's too late. Because love's early light doesn't reveal everything. It hides just as much as it shows. And if you can't see beyond the mask, you'll be ruled by what it's hiding. Jung believed that in every man lives an unconscious feminine figure, the anima, and in every woman lives an unconscious masculine figure, the animus. These aren't fantasies you consciously invent. They are deep psychological forces, shaped by your earliest relationships, your culture, and the parts of yourself you've repressed. Here's the dangerous part. When you fall in love, you are often not relating to the real person in front of you. You are relating to this inner figure you've projected onto them. For a man, this means he doesn't just see her. He sees the anima, the mysterious, enchanting, nurturing, or challenging feminine presence he's been carrying inside his psyche for years. He mistakes that projection for reality. For a woman, it means she may not just see you. She sees the animus, the powerful, protective, ambitious, or even domineering masculine energy she unconsciously seeks. She, too, mistakes her projection for truth. The anima is the personification of all feminine psychological tendencies within a man's psyche. Carl Jung. The result? Two people falling in love with parts of themselves that they've projected outward, not with each other's full reality. At first, this feels intoxicating. You feel seen in a way no one else has ever seen you. You feel she understands you at a soul level. But what she's really responding to is the image her own psyche has draped over you, just as you are responding to the image your psyche has draped over her. And when reality inevitably intrudes, the projections begin to dissolve. That's when the shadow starts to emerge, and the love you thought was pure light begins to reveal its darker edges. Every woman has a light she shows you, and a shadow she doesn't. Jung defined the shadow as the hidden, often unconscious parts of the personality, the traits, desires, and fears a person doesn't want to admit, even to themselves. In love, A woman's shadow is rarely malicious. It's protective, strategic, ancient. On the surface, she may appear purely affectionate, selfless, and emotionally open. But beneath that light can live deeper drives, a need for security, not just emotional, but material, a desire for status, the unconscious pull toward a man who elevates her position in life, a hunger for control, influence over how the relationship unfolds and how you behave within it, a craving for validation, proof that she is worthy, desired, and chosen. In the beginning, her shadow often wears a mask of sweetness. Her attentiveness feels unconditional until certain boundaries are tested. Then, you might see possessiveness, withdrawal, or subtle manipulation, all designed to maintain the balance of power in her favor. The shadow is that hidden, repressed, for the most part inferior and guilt-laden personality whose ultimate ramifications reach back into the realm of our animal ancestors. Carl Jung. This isn't about villainizing her. Just as you have a shadow, so does she. And in love, both shadows are active participants. Her shadow might not want to control you entirely, but it will absolutely want to control how she feels around you. If you idealize her light and ignore her shadow, you'll misinterpret her actions. You'll call her changing when she's simply revealing what was always there. You'll feel betrayed when, in reality, you just didn't want to see the other half of the picture. To understand her fully, you must see her whole, light and shadow, without judgment, and without surrendering to the parts of her shadow that would quietly rule you. If her shadow is about protection and influence, yours is often about approval and identity. Jung's concept of the shadow applies equally to men, the parts of yourself you've buried, denied, or dressed up so they look acceptable. In love, your shadow isn't just hidden from her. It's hidden from you. On the surface, you might look confident, generous, and decisive. But underneath, your shadow may be driven by the need for approval, the hunger for her to constantly reassure you that you are enough, the savior complex, the belief that your value comes from rescuing, fixing, or providing for her beyond what is healthy. Fear of rejection, the silent panic that she might leave, leading you to compromise your boundaries. Dependency on validation, feeling worthy only when she desires you. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Your shadow in love often disguises itself as virtue. Your generosity may be genuine, but it may also be a bargain for affection. Your patience may be real, but it may also be fear of rocking the boat. Your commitment may be sincere, but it may also be a refusal to walk away from something that no longer serves you. The dangerous part is how your shadow and hers feed each other. Her need for security pairs perfectly with your need to provide. Her desire for control finds fertile ground in your fear of losing her. Her craving for validation thrives when you're willing to give endless praise in exchange for scraps of approval. If you ignore your shadow, you'll tell yourself you're just being a good man, when in reality, you're playing a role that slowly erodes your sovereignty. Loving her doesn't mean submitting to your shadow. It means knowing where it hides and making sure it doesn't choose for you. Every relationship has a turning point, the moment when the performance ends. At first, both masks hold. Her light stays bright, your confidence stays steady, and the dance feels effortless. But then something happens. A conflict, a disappointment, an unmet expectation. It could be small, a disagreement about money, a boundary crossed, a period of emotional distance. And suddenly, the shadow steps into the light. You see a side of her you weren't prepared for. Sharper, colder, maybe even manipulative. She sees a side of you you've tried to hide, needier, angrier, or more fragile than you wanted to admit. Jung warned that projection always ends. You can only relate to the mask for so long before reality intrudes. And when it does, the reaction is often explosive, because both of you feel deceived, even though neither of you lied. You simply fell in love with illusions. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Carl Jung. The collision is painful because it doesn't just reveal her shadow. It forces you to confront your own. Her withdrawal stirs your fear of abandonment. Your defensiveness triggers her need for control. Both shadows lock into a feedback loop, each feeding the other's worst instincts. History and myth are full of these moments. Think of Tristan and Isolde, a love ignited by a potion, only to burn with destructive force when reality seeped in. The magic ended, and the truth could not be ignored. In your own life, the question is not if the masks will slip, it's when. And when they do, you have a choice. Cling to the fantasy and resent reality, or face the shadow and grow beyond it. Because love without shadow work isn't love. It's just a beautiful lie with an expiration date. When the mask slips, most men panic. They scramble to get back to the good part of the relationship, the light, the romance, the illusion. But Jung would tell you, the shadow showing itself is not the end. It's the invitation. To see through the shadow means recognizing it for what it is. Not evil, not betrayal, but the parts of yourself and your partner that were hidden until intimacy brought them to the surface. Jung's warning was clear. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. This is shadow work in love, turning toward the parts of her and yourself that make you uncomfortable and asking, what truth is this showing me? Practical steps to seeing through the shadow. Drop the idealization. She's not a goddess. You're not a savior. Identify triggers. Notice when a reaction feels bigger than the moment. It's probably tied to old wounds. Separate the past from the present. Your partner is not your ex, your mother, or the sum of your heartbreaks. Name the need. If the shadow reveals hunger for validation, security, control, acknowledge it without shame. When you see the shadow clearly, two things happen. 1. You stop being manipulated by what you don't acknowledge. 2. You stop demonizing her for being human. This doesn't mean you accept toxic behavior. It means you recognize the why behind it and decide with clarity, not emotion, how to respond. Because the man who can see through the shadow is not afraid of it. And a man who is not afraid of the shadow cannot be controlled by it. When you've seen the shadow, hers and yours, and you don't turn away, something changes. Love stops being a spell you're under. It becomes a choice you make. The new vision of love isn't about chasing the high of infatuation or clinging to the safety of projection. It's about looking at the whole person, light, shadow, flaws, and virtues, and deciding whether you can walk together without losing yourself. In this vision, there's no pedestal. She's not an angel sent to save you. She's a human being with instincts, fears, and needs, just like you. And you're no longer a man playing the part she fell for. You're yourself, fully integrated, no longer bending to fit the mask. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Carl Jung, the transformation here is not about becoming what the other person wants. It's about becoming more yourself in their presence and allowing them to do the same. In myth, the story of Psyche and Eros captures this shift. Psyche is forbidden to look upon her lover, but when she finally does, the illusion breaks. They separate. They struggle. But when they reunite, it's not as strangers in disguise. It's as equals who have seen the truth. The new vision means you don't need the relationship to be perfect for it to be real. You don't fear the shadow. You respect it. And because of that, your love can breathe. This is the kind of love that endures, not because it avoids the shadow, but because it has walked through it and come out the other side. Now you see love for what it really is. Not a dream. Not a fairy tale. Not two perfect souls fitting seamlessly together. It's the meeting of two realities, each carrying light, each carrying shadow. You see her differently now, not as an angel who will complete you, not as a villain when she disappoints you, but as a full human being, shaped by her own wounds, instincts, and unconscious drives, just as you are. And you see yourself differently too. You're no longer the man desperate to keep the mask in place. You've met your own shadow, the need for approval, the fear of loss, the urge to save, and you're no longer ruled by it. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. Carl Jung. This is the truth she doesn't want you to see. Not because she's hiding it out of malice, but because we all hide our shadows, even from ourselves. But once you've seen it, you can't go back to blind love, and you wouldn't want to, because now you know. Real love is not built on illusion. It's built on the courage to see clearly and stay grounded. It's the choice to walk beside someone knowing both of your shadows will show up and meeting them with awareness, not fear. So remember, she's not just the light you fell for, and you're not just the man you pretended to be. You're both more than that, and that's where the real connection begins. Like, share, subscribe. Don't scroll past this. Another man is still living in love's shadow, and your clarity might be the thing that wakes him up. This isn't content. This is a digital rite of passage, and you've just crossed into a deeper kind of love.